Hey, what's up? Welcome to the After Hours update for Friday, September 26th. Going to be going over a list of tickers here and going over charts and some options data. So should be a pretty good time. Happy weekend, everybody. Hopefully you've got some nice plans ahead and that you're done with work for the week and looking forward to the weekend. Just getting into the charts here. I just wanted to start out with Ethereum because I did post a video going over basically what I've drawn up here yesterday, and that video, it's only received 17 views. You can see it right here. And I think you guys should definitely check it out. It's only 4 minutes and 23 seconds long, so it's a pretty short one. So far I've been pretty spot on with the bottom being here for ETH, so pretty excited about that. Also, I will be going over 20 different cryptocurrencies tomorrow for Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, something I do every Saturday, really just kind of updating my portfolio, what I plan on doing for the weeks ahead. And a lot of it is just very boring, in all honesty, dollar cost averaging. And that has been very, very successful for me, even with this pullback, whether it's ETH, Bitcoin, whatever it is. I have been happily buying the dip every single day, and I like it. So I'd encourage you check that out. And also after this stream, I will be doing a GameStop video, so make sure you check that out as well. But anyways, kind of building upon Ethereum. Oh, and actually before I do that, that was the intro. Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts and going over data. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, set alerts if you like. And I think that alerts might actually be really helpful because I do post a lot on the channel, just giving updates, screenshots, things like that. So that might be pretty handy. But anyways, back to the charts. Ethereum, I wanted to go over Bitmine real briefly, not necessarily because of the chart, although it does look like it has pulled back to the 618 around 48.90. Tested that multiple days, wicking down below that yellow line, coming down to that 50-day SMA that is at 47.16. Actually, let's see, what was the low from yesterday? 47.21. The low from today, Friday, September 26th. The low is 47.31. And so, could be bouncing there. That could be significant, could be going higher. So I just wanted to point that out. If I do look over at the strategic ETH reserves, we don't see that Bitmine has, bought since September 22nd. And if we do scroll down, their position is now worth less than $10 million. So maybe that's a little bit concerning, but I really don't think so. Tom Lee has called the V-shape recovery in the past. I think that it's just going to be, kind of a W-shaped recovery, or, another V that we're seeing. So I have a lot of confidence in him, ETH, and the sector. But I did just want to pull up the Bitmine net call and put premium. This was, I think when I staged this here, the net call premium was up, let's see, to a maximum of about $3.68 million. But it does look like it has pulled back at the end of the day. Net call premium closed at negative $694,000, whereas net put premium was up by 2.44 million. So that is kind of bearish over the weekend, but maybe it's also just people taking risk off the table over the weekend. So did want to point that out. Coming back to the list over here, since I was talking about Ethereum, I got to talk about Bitcoin. Massive red candle yesterday on Thursday, September 25th, coming down 3.8%, but maybe we're finding support here right around that 618 at right around 108. So it looks like the low from yesterday was $108,623.70, and we have not gone not gone lower than that. So far, the low today is about $20 higher than that. And so maybe there's a recovery. Maybe we see this start to rally up into the weekend. So we will have to wait and see. And since I don't have a direct ETF of Bitcoin to look at, we do have, of Bitcoin, but we do have the IBIT ETF data over here, call and put premium. And so I just wanted to bring this up because this actually looks not so good moving into the weekend. We have net call premium moving down, the green line here throughout the day, and net call premium ended at just about $12 million down at $11.7 million. But net put premium was also negative, so maybe that's silver lining, but that was only down by 2.29 million. That net call premium, if you add up the net call premium, the net put premium, it is net bearish by about $10 million. So yeah, it doesn't look so great into the weekend, but maybe we get surprised. Maybe this is just taking risk off before the weekend. So something to consider there. But then coming back to the chart, hey Vaz, what's up? How's it going? I'm just going to pull up actually, wait a second. Let's see. So Vaz says, hey, what's up, Andy? What's up, Vaz? How's it going? Happy Friday. And just going to go over, the next one on the list is going to be Mara, but if you do have a request, just let me know. It might be on the list that I am going over, just ones that stood out to me. But yeah, with Bitcoin, I did want to go over Mara. Let's see, second day closing below the 50-day SMA, so that's not really a good look. Looks like it closed at 16.13, up a little bit in the after hours. But let's see, the low, I think yesterday was a little bit lower, 1573 versus today, both days 1573. So yeah, will be interesting to see if we can reclaim that, let's see, 50-day simple moving average, which is at a price of 1645. So I'd look for some closes above that next week. But for Mara, let's see, I guess I have things out of order up here, but I did want to go over the Mara data, which, doesn't really look terribly exciting. It's kind of up and down for the call and put premium, it looks like. Net put premium was actually down by $2 million, but ended the day down by only $250,000, so not as bullish as one might have thought initially. But and then net call premium, we do see that in green, that did just kind of steadily go down over the course of the day. That ended at negative 1.59 million. And if we do look at the bear bull slider here just above my head, we can see 49% bearish. So it's not like super, super bearish, but it doesn't look that great. So I think, crypto moving into the weekend might be looking kind of rough. I do see some chats there, so I will look at those in a second, but just before shifting gears into stocks, I wanted to pull up Doge real quick because it looks like, we've had one close below the 50 SMA, which is currently at 2367. We did bounce some, and we are up at like 2307, hit a low yesterday of 2208. Today, the low is 2211, so it would be great to see a close above 2367. But since crypto trades into the weekend, this is not going to be the weekly close at the end of the day today. That will come on Sunday. So we'll have to look to see about that. But yeah, I'm feeling like this is just a dip buying opportunity. But I am biased. I do have a Doge position, but my average is closer to 18 cents. I did add to my Doge position, though, when it was below 23 cents. So yeah, I guess I'm biased in that sense. But if it came lower, I'd be fine with it. So, not fazed by that. And one thing before I switch over to the stocks and the chat, did want to mention ETH. I didn't mention this before. It's now above 4,000. So everybody's panicking when it's sub 4,000. And who knows what the future holds, but this may end up being a great dip buying opportunity. And so that's a level that I've talked about, but I didn't necessarily expect it to hit. I thought this was going to go higher into this week. Instead, it rolled over. I thought it hit 4,200, and that would be the bottom. But yeah, 38, I had talked about that before, and it's nice to see. But yeah, I'll pull back Doge so I know where I'm at in the list, and I'm just going to pull up Vaz's chat. Not a request, but a tip for good business, which can have the biggest upside from the whole market. Advanced air mobility. Okay, so yeah, I'll pull that up. I won't be able to add it to my list here because I'm like maxed out on TradingView, but let's see, advanced. Okay, so you added the ticker. So I'll pull that up. That is EVTL. So let's see, EVTL. Is it Vertical Aerospace? Is that correct? I imagine that's it. But yeah, this one, it looks like, let's see, I can just do, some quick analysis of it. And I might actually remove the chat just so, oops, it's not blocking the RSI, although Ed's kind of blocking the RSI a little bit. But let's see, looking at this, did break below the 50 SMA, got kind of a double bottom there. Not too much volume on those bounces, starting to pick up volume as it's breaking out. And yeah, I mean, it's like effectively retesting the 50 SMA. So I think that's an important level to reclaim because we did close, EVTL did close below that level. And so let's see, the 50 SMA is at 50.49. Closed at, 549, closed at 544. And, that's actually kind of interesting. I want to look at some options in a second because it closed just below what I imagine is a strike at 550. So I'm wondering if that's the max pain. So we can pull that up in a second. But what I'd like to do, since it kind of formed the bottom over here, just look at Fibonacci retracement to see where it's at. And it's right around the 50% at like 542. But I could see it coming down a little bit lower to the 618 around 517, or maybe breaking 5, test that, and then, ideally bounce. And then another thing, kind of like the lower highs that are formed over here, just being approximate. But I wanted to look at, let's see, the RSI, and that from here, it's lower, so there's consistency there, but now it's kind of breaking out to be higher. And so that is hidden bearish divergence, that, as the price is rising up, it's getting a little bit exhausted in the RSI. That would be my interpretation. Like there are these highs up here, it's getting rejected lower and lower. And so as it gets up to those levels, you want the relative strength, to be going up, but as it gets to be close to the overbought territory, so like right around 70, then it starts to get, a little bit exhausted. And so with it getting exhausted, turning around with that RSI, going up to a high of 65.81, then pulling back, it didn't have enough juice to break out from this downtrend. And maybe all that it needs is to pull back to around 5, test that, and then break back above. Because, when stocks, move around a moving average, they tend to move around the moving average. It kind of makes sense. But when they break above it, they tend to kind of retest it. And it might be that it waxes and wanes. And here, had a pretty big break above it with this little dip down. But then had more of a breakdown over here. And so this might be kind of like a fake out breakout before a retest going below it. But if it spends less time below it than it did over here, then, that could be, it's like refueling to then break out from that downtrend. So that's kind of what I'd look out for that. And since I am curious about the price, let's just go over to unusual whales. And so from this, I'm going to go to the flow data tab up here. I'm just going to explain it in case this is helpful for you guys. I tend to over explain things, but hopefully it's good for learning. And so from the flow data, the drop down, go to the ticker explorer over here, and then down we can see the Greeks. Click on that. That will get you to the max pain data. And then we can type in, that's EVTL, is that right? So yeah, let's type in EVT, oops, let's see, get it over here, EVTL. And so that is the correct one. And so we can see the max pain for today, actually not for today, so for next monthly expiration, October 17th is $5. It looks like it's $5 for the next, into 2026. And so, yeah, I think that this kind of suggests to me that it might be staying around $5 for a little while. And then let's see, how would I would just go to the flow data. I tend to go to the flow feed, but maybe we could explore the stock screener and then look at EVTL and see if there's anything here Actually, this is not really how I'd search. I go to the flow data and the flow feed, and then I just type EVTL, and nothing with those filters, so I'm just going to clear them. EVTL again. There is some options data. I just click whatever options contract just so I can view the net call and put premium. And so what we can see is net put premium went up by $533. Net call premium came down by $11,000. So that's nothing as far as options go. If we look at the past 30 days, we did see a big drop in net call premium, coming down though by only $50,000. So I don't think there's really much to tell with the options data for this stock in particular. But yeah, with Max Payne being around $5 for the next quarter, it might not be a good buy above $5 because that will probably serve as like a magnet for it. So if you buy at $5.50, it's probably going to go down 10 or 11%, whatever that is, to $5. If you buy at $5, it might go up, it might go down. You buy at $4.50, then you have potential for like at least a 10% move to $5 before I imagine it ultimately getting rejected there. But yeah, I am going to just note on my notepad EVTL so I can add the ticker to the description, and then also IBIT since I didn't have that previously. But yeah, I'll get back to the charts, and also just see in the chat here. Vaz is saying, let's see if I just got into options. Would love to see your opinion. For EVTL, options not worth it. And the reason for that is, sure, you can like double your money pretty easily with options. Your money can also go to zero pretty easily with options. And the edge that you have with options, in my view, is with data like from Unusual Whales. You can see what whales are doing. And I actually did that recently with Rocket Lab, but I actually kind of screwed that up. And so I will go over that in a minute if there is interest. But also I did kind of go over some of that in Rocket Lab follow-up video. And that's really like somebody just keeps rolling contracts to lower strikes. So I can go over that. That might be helpful for you to understand it. But I saw, they rolled a contract to a later date. They're still bullish. But then since then, they've rolled it to lower strikes. And so they're getting less bullish. And so I'm going to lose some money on that. But it's, part of the process. And that's why I don't like short dated contracts. What I feel like is a good rule of thumb for me, which can be kind of boring, but if it's boring, it's probably going to make you money. If it's exciting, you're probably going to lose money. That's like how investing, trading works. But for me, it's like I want to have at least 6 months between now and the expiration of a contract. And the reason for that is because it gives me the ability to pivot, to average down, whatever. If it's just a couple weeks from now, I get anxious and then I screw up. And so I think at least 6 months is nice to have. But yeah, for a stock like EVTL, I don't think it's that useful. And then just one more comment from Vaz. Coming a Catalyst event in next few weeks. This could nicely fit that you just said about bounce off 5 mark. Yeah, so I think that like from over here, from looking at the chart, I think that looking at Max Payne and looking at the chart, no doubt this is coming down to $5. Could it go lower? Yeah, and so, what might be, another strategy rather than, buying at 5, like right here, if one was to do so, maybe wait for it to be a little bit lower, like the 786 and there, then it can bounce. And then even if it gets rejected from that like downtrending line that I have drawn there, let's just look at what kind of percentage move that is. So like from here to there, that's a 22% swing. Whereas if you, buy at the 618 or let's say right around $5, that would be a 17% move. So either way, and another way to do that is also to like average into positions. But yeah, thanks for the requests. And then I'm going to continue on with the rest of them, because I think the next one some people might be pretty interested in. That's going to be Plug Power. This is one that, has really been on a rampage, but it has pulled back some. And so maybe we're getting a little bit of a bounce. I could imagine some people wanting to see that and this go higher. Maybe we are. I have no idea. I'm not in Plug. So actually, I guess I have two puts. That's a 50-cent strike that expire in December. Those are going to zero. I'm just holding them to shame myself so I learn to not make bad decisions, but I'm losing like $20 on it, so it's not a big deal. And I'd get like $2 if I sold them. So again, not a big deal. But yeah, I am rooting for people holding Plug. But since this has pulled back to the 50% retracement, that's around 229, I could actually see this coming down to the 618 at around $2 here. It looks like it's at 208. So I could see it doing something, a little bit of a bounce yesterday with the low of, let's see, 219. And then it's bouncing up here, so that looks good. But then maybe it rolls back down here and then starts to go. Maybe it goes vertical, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, so I would think that this could potentially be coming down to around $2. And then that's a pretty nice discount if it's to go to $3. And then maybe it would form a double top there. So good to consider that. Or maybe it would be testing the highs up here around 330, or, the highs over here are close to $5. And let's see, I don't have any options data for this one pulled up, just didn't really stand out to me too much. But I can, do a plug video or something if people are interested. So let me know in the comments, the chat, if you're watching this live or if you're watching it after the fact. I would be happy to follow up. And I must say that I am ashamed for, losing conviction, but that's how the market works. That's how stocks work, and you got to move on. And but happy for those holding, and I'd be happy to cover it. The next one that I want to go over is AMC, and this one looks like it has broken that uptrend that I drew, which is kind of a casual uptrend. We did close below it on Thursday the 25th at a price of 283. But then we did reclaim at that level, closing today at 289, which is nice. But if we look at Max Pain, let's see, Max Pain right here, I think this is for NEO, which I can go over the Max Pain on that in a minute. But for AMC, Max Pain's like $3 all the way down the list, basically. And so we closed just below that. So that's not necessarily that great of a look. So I want to get too ahead of ourselves with this nice bounce today, going up 2.12% on the day. I should also note, though, that we did hit a low of $2.80. I've talked about price coming down to around $290 to $280. I also had mentioned that I have a very small buy order for a call contract, or actually, no, not a call contract, for selling a cash secure put, a limit order for that. That has not been filled, and I could actually pull up that contract over here just to see out of curiosity. That's the $3 put for for October 17th, and the high for today was 31 cents. Yesterday it was also 31 cents. My limit sell is for 37 cents. That did not get filled, and the idea there is to pick up more shares if it expires in the money, so below $3 on October 17th. But if it expires above $3, then I don't pick up shares. I collect some premium, and the price is going up, so I'm happy. So it's a win-win-win type of scenario. And then coming back to the chart over here, is that all I wanted to talk about with the options data? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, my order, I should mention, for 280, that was not filled. Just 10 shares, no big deal. But just to add a little bit to my position, I'm just going to chill with it, though. I'm just going to leave that there, see what happens next week. I imagine that this will probably continue to go down, closing below Max Pain. There's just a little bit of weakness. Maybe find some support at 270 or 280, 275. If not, maybe coming down to 250, effectively kind of testing the lows from over here. And if that happens, just be grateful for the dip buying opportunity. I think that we will eventually be breaking out from this downtrend. And so that would just be great. And speaking of things, coming down a little bit, Rocket Lab, it looks like we got now a close below the 50-day SMA. which is at 46.41. It closed at 46.26. And Vaz, this might be helpful for you if you are interested to learn about options. So this is something I've been following, like in my bookmarks list. I put all of the stuff that I'm watching in this just because I forget to check it if I have it on a separate one. And I think, just above Ed's head, I might actually have him step out of the way for this. Let's see. Have Ed move over there. This is, just been really interesting. I have this set on 3 days here. You can see up here 3 days for these different contracts because I want to show you guys something. So this has been like the rolling of contracts, which was really interesting for me. But then I realized it's just this person was initially too bullish and they're trying to cover their ass. But so over here on September 24th, so a couple days ago, there was this pretty big candle for the $57.50 call that expires next Friday on the 3rd of October. And this was a candle premium of $1.2 million. And so you can see the strike here and the expiration up here. And at that same exact time where that candle is, there was a contract bought. So this one was sold. You can see that here where the the open interest decreased by about 20,000. So that was it being sold. And at the same time, the $54 strike call was being bought. You can see here that's green, where for the other contract, the 57.51, it was red. For the 25th, red there. For the 54, for the 25th, it's green. So they rolled it. But then very interesting, you notice this other candle over here for today. And it looks like they actually rolled this one. So you can see the volume today was 23,000 out of open interest of about 23,000. That suggests to me that they were selling this selling this call and then rolling it from the $54 strike to the $50 strike. And so you can see that candle over here. So this just seems to me like it's getting more and more bearish. I was wrong about it. And, that's how it goes. And we can also see that the net call premium has come down by about $4 million today. And let's see, I've got a bigger version of that over here. So yeah, I had a limit sell for my calls to basically get out at more than 50% loss, maybe 60% loss. Didn't get filled. I'm going to see what happens over the weekend. I'm not going to sweat it. If I lose money, it's like $260, which is, it was a stupid decision for me. And that just reinforces I like to have 6 months or at least multiple months between now and expiration of contracts. But then coming back over here, Rivian, this one might be very interesting. I believe Chestad was asking about this. Got a lot of doodles up here, and it does seem like from Sunday. So I went over this for Ticker Request Live when we had this red candle here. It did go up more or less as I had drawn here, but it does look like it is bumping into that trend line. Which is kind of casual from like the choppy tops over here. And I think I might have actually drawn that when it was on the log scale. So yeah, that just looks a little bit nicer. Choppy tops over here, but you have some intersections with the highs over here. And it did break above that. So I think that's looking good. But I believe in the options data, I think it was looking a little bit weak. And if we're looking at this on the linear y-axis, that trend line looks like it's resistance. So it may not be going up much higher as, we've got lots of wicks to the upside, then closing the week with a red candle. Maybe not such a good look, but pulling up the contracts, yeah, this is also kind of reinforcing the not so great look. We see in red net put premium more or less being flat. Came down by 86.56 thousand, but the net call premium came down by over $934,000, just about $1 million coming down in green there along with the stock price. So looking at the chart, this could be, returning to maybe 1450, somewhere around there. So I'd brace for a little bit of a pullback, but I of course could be wrong with that. Maybe it does continue higher like the green doodle that I have there. And let's see, I've got about a minute left. I might go a little bit over, but kind of the more stocks that I haven't really gone over too much, I'll just mention them at the end. But yeah, NIO, let's actually clean up the drawings here. This did end up red today, closed at 704. But if we do come over to the Max Pain data from Unusual Whales, we can see that Max Pain for today was $7. So it closed 4 cents above Max Pain. So I think that's great. However, it's not multiple strikes above Max Pain. And the Max Pain for next Friday and the Friday after is 650. So this makes me think there could be a little bit of a pullback. It could be losing some of that momentum. And while, this could be a bull flag, I could be wrong about it retracing some, but I feel like it might. I mean, that's going to be my bias, my analysis at this point, is that NIO is going to be pulling back. But I, of course, could be wrong. Looking at the options data over here, let's see, we do see the stock price having pulled back some during the day. We have net put premium, the red line being more or less flat, coming down by about $71,000, and net call premium was up a little bit, about $200,000, but ended the day down by about $48,000. So generally, this is, nothing too crazy going on with NIO. If we do go back the past 7 days to show these big dumps, those really do stand out to me still. It's just nefarious. You see net call put premium, whatever they're doing throughout the days, but then in the last 15 minutes, massive dumping of calls. So that makes me a little bit concerned about NIO. So my thesis is really, unchanged with this. And, what I'm doing, in case you guys are curious, I had sold a covered call with $11 strike that expires today. And I was hoping to roll it for a 42-cent premium. So I'd collect $42 and the strike would have been, I think, $7 for expiring next week. So then I'd effectively be selling 100 shares at $7.42. That didn't get filled. What I'm probably going to do, in all honesty, I've already sold the 40 shares around 710. I could have sold higher yesterday. The high was 768. I could have sold there. I feel that this could be rolling over. And so I'm probably going to be exiting those 100 shares at around 7. I'm still going to hold my one call, the $10 strike call that expires in June, because that cost me $32, and I think it could go to like hundreds of dollars. So long term, I'm bullish, but short term, I could see this pulling back to let's say 650 to 550, somewhere in that range, 6 plus or minus 50 cents. And let's see, I think there's some more in the chat. Vaz is saying, yes, go over. Glad you're enjoying the show. And yeah, I'm just going to pull up. So if you're wondering, I'm going to go over a little bit. It's 33 minutes now. Vaz is saying that I should go over, and Ed also approves of that. And Vaz is saying he likes the show. So yeah, I will continue on, especially because I'm not going to stream tomorrow, but then we'll be doing Ticker Request Live on Sunday, which will have to be a short one because I work on Monday in the morning. But yeah, some of the other ones that I wanted to go over, they are on the list here, but really they are inspired by some posts on, X. And so one of them is a repost for me, and this is from Mike Alfred, who he's called Iron and Cypher. And so I'm going to go over Cypher. But yeah, I think that he's just like a really great investor. He's also got a very kind of dark, dry sense of humor. And he's always saying, talking about kid analysts on X. And so while it stings a little bit, I'm effectively a kid analyst because, I'm learning the charts. I'm learning to understand the data. And then I'm just sharing my process with you guys. My batting average is 50-50, but he's a great investor, and I've definitely seen evidence of that with Iron. I imagine that's how you would pronounce that ticker. But then Cypher, I will go over Cypher. And he's saying, I've been notified of kid analysts on X, so that would be like Ed and me, masquerading as experienced professional investors. But, I'm saying I don't masquerade. I accept that I'm a kid analyst. And so telltale signs. Oh my gosh, I guess he deleted that. Telltale signs include posting charts and trying to scare people out of high quality stocks like Iron and Cipher at bottoms. Please report, maybe because he said something like that. But yeah, I'll just go to his page, see what he says about that. Serious question. October starts next week. Don't do anything stupid. 100%. Everybody's saying the bear market's in, whatever. But if we come back to the chart over here, if we look at Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin at for the month? So got my drawings removed. Let's look at the monthly candles. The month's not over, but September is supposed to be like a really bad month for Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin is up by over 1% for the month. So yeah, don't sweat it. I'm not too concerned about it. And so I think that's something that, people always have to try and remember, that just because things are really red one day, we could be, looking really good overall. Maybe this is a massive bull flag, and that is how I am leaning with Bitcoin and stuff like that. But yeah, coming back to, his posts over here, I guess he deleted that post, which I thought was funny. Maybe it's because he said report in it. I am not sure. But let's look at the Cipher chart. And this is one that I actually placed a buy order on just for one share. So, I'm a little kid trader and stuff, nothing too crazy. And that order would have been filled. If you heard a beep, that would have been it. Because I did place an order after hours. I'm just checking my phone. So yeah, I saw it up a little bit. I can't pull up after hours data, I think because I don't have a subscription to TradingView. But we can see that the after hours, it's down 1 penny. But initially it was like at 11:58. And I was like, okay, I'm going to place a buy order at 11:50 just for one share. I just kind of want to participate in what Mike Alfred's doing because I have conviction in his analysis. And it's like, no, the close was 11:47. You can see it up here, 11:47 for the day. I'm not going to be chasing a gap. I'll buy it at least at close. And then so it pulled back, so that got a fill. So that's nice. But yeah, this is pretty overextended. But if we look at just to pull up Iron, just to show you guys this, over here, you could have said, oh, it's really overextended, going to pull back. We can actually just do a little experiment here. From the low to the high there, it only pulled back to the 382, so it didn't even come back to the 50%. So, I think that is something to consider, and this might be pulling back, but then that's going to be a nice opportunity to enter. So anyways, looking at Cipher though, following this pullback, let's just do a quick Fibonacci retrace. And I should know that Cipher is a Bitcoin mining company. I believe they're also into energy solutions, maybe data center type stuff. And that's really what miners are kind of. And so, the argument that I just made with Iron pulling back to the 382, Cipher has pulled back to the 382 at 11:39. So maybe there's rallies higher, and that would be great. I will be happily tagging along with my one little share. But if it does go lower, if it comes down to $10, hey, I'd be happy to add more. If it comes down to the 618 at around $9, I'd be happy to add more aggressively. And I imagine at that time, that would probably correspond with the 50 SMA, which is currently at 772. So yeah, this is just I have a baby position now because I'm a kid analyst, and I'll casually add if it does go lower. And a level that I do think could be very important for Cipher, let's just see a horizontal ray, being just kind of arbitrary over here, but the top's over there, that's around 741. So yeah, if this comes back to 8, no sweat. I only got one share right now, so I'm just chilling. But yeah, intrigued by that. And also I did want to pull up the options data for it. So for the day, while we're talking about a lot of stuff in crypto not looking so good for today, Cipher actually looks pretty good. Net put premium came down by $1 million, and net call premium went up by over $1 million. So overall, that is bullish. It does look like it's just 42%, but generally it looks like puts are being sold, calls are being bought. And so that does seem like it is good. So I did want to point that out. Another one that I might not actually go over these just because I got to make the GameStop video. But let me know in the comments if you're watching this, if you'd like me to go over Peloton. This is something that was posted by the Bronx Viking. I'd encourage you to follow him. He's a great analyst. I've learned a lot about unusual whales from his free posts on X. But yeah, I've swung Peloton some in the past, I think on the move up here. And now it's pulled back, bounced, might be breaking out. And he's saying that $10 calls might be aiming a little too low based on the weekly chart. So weekly, we got some time. Let me know if you want me to go over Peloton. And then the other one at the end of the video is going to be Celsius Holdings, ticker symbol CELH. This is from TrendSpider. They get made fun of a lot for having some bad calls periodically. So maybe they're not the best analyst. And yeah, to be honest, with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Celsius dumped after this to fill that gap or something. That would be pretty funny, I must say. But this is one that I have swung in the past, I believe, on the moves up here. I'm not in it. I don't drink Celsius. I don't know too much about them other than I see their cans. So I'd be curious to go over this chart. If you guys want me to do a video on it, let me know in the comments down below. But with that being said, I am going to, end this on the GameStop chart because I am going to do a GameStop video right after this. But I will pull up Vaz's last comment because I've got to get running. But Vaz is saying, I thought Peloton would have been out of business by now. Yes, I would agree. But it's like so many things they get forgotten, but then maybe they do something else where I don't know what Peloton would have done. It just seems very niche and like it's pandemic era. But if the chart's looking good and Bronx is talking about it, I'd definitely be interested to do a video on it. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. And with all that being said, I have to say thanks a lot to Vaz for engaging in the chat. If you guys have not already, please make sure you like the stream. But as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Again, GameStop video I'll be recording right after this. And then I will be doing Crypto Corner Sat Stacker tomorrow. Might be doing a card opening because I haven't done that in a while, physical cards from GameStop. And then I might go over some other stuff over the weekend before Ticker Request Live on Sunday. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining.